Hi, guys. It's another episode of POV, the Gen Z Parent, your favorite parenting podcast for Gen Zs and Zillennials, where we share real life experiences, stories, and tips. This podcast offers a unique blend of insights into the lives of young adults navigating parenthood. And like we say, it's a no judgment zone because we are all just learning the ropes. The topic of our discussion today is baby budgeting. Is having a baby really that expensive? I mean, what do you think? I'll be sharing my thoughts on what costs you can expect and where you can save, some tips on how you can budget ahead of time, and useful highlights generally. I knew that raising a child would be expensive, but did I think it would be this expensive? Maybe not, especially when you now have my type of birth in quotes where there's some sort of complication you didn't see coming. How do you plan ahead? How do you know what exactly to keep or not keep, spend or not spend? As a first time parent, shopping and everything can be really, really, if you know what I mean, it can be really, really, because you are just excited and you just want to buy everything in sight. You just want to make sure that your baby has uh, different things. And like we always say, me and my friends, we always talk about how everything is just very beautiful. And especially if you're having a girl, girly things that will just be popping, the colors, all the pinks, all the brightness, and you shall want to buy the whole store. And at the end of the day, you buy these things, the baby comes and are they functional? That's when your eye will clear. That's when it will be really obvious to you what you needed and what you shouldn't have bothered. So yeah, it can be really overwhelming, especially with the saturation of the market and how everything looks when you visit the store. To be fair, who doesn't want to have the best for their baby? I don't think there's anyone. So the chances are you might end up spending more money than you budgeted in the first place. And let me bust your head. The money might not even be enough at the end of the day because you would have spent on frivolities, then realize later that you've not even gotten some essential things. So one thing I would like to re-emphasize discussing this topic is to always remember that there is life after birth. The same way they always say wedding, there's marriage after wedding, or how do they say that thing? I don't spend all your resources throwing a lavish party, and at the end of the day, you go home and soak gari. It's the same thing about the baby. The same way there are costs that you incur before your baby comes, when your baby comes, and there are costs that you will also incur after your baby comes. And guess what? The costs, they are not going anywhere. In fact, they will be piling up because they are constant. So always remember that, yeah, there's life after birth and they grow so fast. Meaning that the things that they used that you probably got for a particular age range may not even be so exciting to them after some time, or they will just outgrow it. And then you'd obviously have to get something else to cater to their new phase. So this is where the real work begins. Babies can cost a lot, in my opinion. They can cost a lot financially, mentally, emotionally. They take up space physically. And you may not be able to control the emotional parts. You may not be able to control the mental stress. Maybe you can to an extent. But I feel like one part that we as parents have a huge control over is the financial parts because we are the ones who call the shots and we are the ones who know how to manage the resources. So, how do you manage your baby budget and not get overwhelmed by the rising cost of products and the multitude of options to pick from? One, I would advise that you start planning early enough. Some people start shopping as early as first trimester. They make a list of the things that they want to buy, and especially now that prices of things the price in the morning is not the price in the afternoon. You just go and so there's the need for you to plan well. When do you want to break down your list into batches, especially if maybe you're not that financially buoyant and you don't have money to buy it all at once. Break down your list into items. Okay, what am I buying first? Am I buying the gears first? Am I catering to clothing? Different aspects? Just break them down and decide how you want to shop through your pregnancy. Secondly, I would advise that you also prioritize your expenses. Now, to do this, you need to make a list of all the things that you would like to buy. Separate the essentials from the nice to have or luxury items. What are the essentials? Of course, your baby will wear clothes. Of course, you have to pay medical bills. Of course, your child catering to feeding afterwards, bottles and all of that. You need a car seat. You need you need basic functional items to keep the child running. So things that you may be debating would be, I'm not sure. Some people don't see breast pumps as essentials. Some people don't see having a cot as essentials because they think the baby would not use it. So depending, and there are also mothers that would swear by having a cot. Of course, the only way you know if it works for you or if it does not work for you is when you buy it. So the idea is don't spend too much on things that you are not sure if your baby would use. And some mothers, funnily, also say that their children did not even use feeding bottle, that they've rejected bottle. So really, there's no one size fits all. But the point here is there are some essential items that you need to get. And there are some items that you and I know that they are just luxury items. So you need to make those demarcations and prioritize your expenses. The third thing is to understand that in this phase of life, especially after the baby comes, there's a difference between your ongoing expenses and your one-time expenses. For example, ongoing expenses are childcare, diaper, wipes, clothes, daycare, formula. One-time expenses, we have the antenatal, we have the hospital fee, baby gears. I mean, you wouldn't have to buy a car seat again for the same baby, except perhaps they run out of the age range for the one they are using currently. So you need to understand the difference between these one-time expenses and the ongoing ones. For things like baby clothes, it's important for you to buy as they grow. Always buy as they grow. Don't buy in bulk once and say, oh, because babies grow fast, they outgrow many of these things. And most times, they don't even get to wear some of the clothes that you get, or they wear them just a few times. And next time, they've outgrown it. I'll give you an example. Ellie had this pretty set of clothes that I really liked, and I was just keeping them in the wardrobe to say, oh, it's not time, it's not time. When I decided it was time and I brought them out, she had outgrown them. I almost cried because, gosh, such a waste at the end of the day. Same thing with shoes. Some people buy so many shoes when they are doing their baby shopping, and in the early phase, they barely even go out. You only go for immunizations mostly, or maybe if your baby starts daycare early. At the end of the day, they don't wear them. So just buy as they grow for things like clothing. The fourth tip would be shopping smart based on functionality, usability, and long-term function. Because see, if you're a new mom or new dad, first-time parent, buying on impulse for your baby is a thing. And you will just end up buying. You will end up buying so much that it, it won't be wise for your finances, and especially if you did not budget for it. So when buying, buy based on functionality. Two things can be the same products, they can look beautiful together. The aesthetics of one may not be as great as the other, but the other is more functional, would be more durable than that. Always go for the things that are more functional rather than have more aesthetic values, especially if you know that you are still going to give birth again. And some of those things, you can always reuse them for your next baby. Also, the constant thing that they always say is change. Always expect prices to change and be flexible with your budgets. This allows you to make necessary adjustments to your expenses whenever your budget, whenever you need to, and you don't put yourself under pressure, because it can be really stressful having to deal with unreasonable price changes every now and then. I know it's tough, but just making a little more allowance for that really takes off the pressure from you and allows you relax a bit. Raising a child is certainly not cheap, but if you can plan ahead, welcoming a new baby into the world, you may not need to break the bank entirely. So I would like to hear from you as well, especially on social media. What other budgeting tips do you know? You can share with us in the comments. And to go over the ones I just shared today, remember the first one is you start planning early enough, you prioritize your expenses, understand the difference between ongoing and one time expense, you shop smart, especially based on functionality, usability, and long term use, and be flexible enough, especially due to price changes, constant price changes in our economy today. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of POV, the Gen Z Parent. I do hope that you found today's discussion insightful and valuable for your parenting journey. Kindly subscribe to our podcast for future episodes if you have not, and remember to share with your family and friends who may benefit from our discussions as well. I look forward to bringing you another episode another time. See you.